Hello team, welcome back to our nutrition chat. Last week we were speaking about quantity and we were speaking about using your hand to portion out meals to make sure that you had a balanced meal and so that that meal somewhat matched your size. And then we spoke about how you could use that as a starting point and adjust over time. A quick recap, our nutrition prescription is to eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, a little starch and no sugar, and to keep intake to levels that support exercise but not body fat. This week we're going to speak about a way of tracking all of that, and it's very simply just for a period of time tracking the food that you eat. If you've previously went through and you've had a look at the food that you eat and you've looked at meat and vegetables, etc., and you think you're bang on with that, then maybe you don't need to track that too much. Or maybe if you have thought, have I got enough food to support activity but not body fat, and you think yes I have, then you might not need to even do this. If everything's working for you, don't change anything. But if you find that you're getting tired of workouts, or that you're holding more weight than you'd like to, or you're not really sure what your food quality is like in the big picture, then by taking a period of time to actually write it down, it'll give you a chance to look back and accurately reflect on the things that you're putting into your mouth. You could simply have a pen and paper and keep that in the kitchen for a week and write down everything that you eat or carry that about with you. You could make a note on your phone, or you could even get an app that allows you to track food like MyFitnessPal, which is free, and you can keep a track. And the idea is simply to have a little more of an objective look at what you eat. Generally, when you ask people what they eat and they go from memory, myself included, I would not be able to give any sort of an accurate representation of what I ate. If I walked past the cupboard and had a handful of nuts or a banana while I was making my coffee in the morning, I'm probably not going to remember those little things. If I try and remember how much chicken it was I had at dinner and I guess, chances are I'm not going to be accurate. But if you take a week, say, and actually write down how much you eat, then you'll be able to have a look at that and then compare what you are actually doing as to what you thought you were doing, and then you can also compare that to what you would want to be doing. So we'll compare it to what you think you're doing, and you can compare it to an ideal. And then that will give you a lot of insight into what you're eating. You might surprise yourself with how many little bits and bobs add up to being quite a lot of food. Really common ones are if you just snack on things while you're doing something else. Maybe you're cooking and you eat a bit of the dinner or eat some of the spare dinner before you're done, or when you're putting oil in your food. We use a little virgin olive oil spray, and it's really easy to keep a track of how many sprays you do, and it'll say on it how many calories per spray, whereas if you were to take a bottle of oil and pour it, it'd be very, very impressive if you accurately guess what that is. So, to give yourself a big picture of what you're currently doing and to compare that against eating meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, blah blah blah, then what you should do is to try to track it. Now, personally, I'm not big on tracking long term because I don't know if it's sustainable for a lot of people. It can certainly be sustainable and very beneficial for some people, but the population as a whole, it might be a little too much rigidity of being stuck on tracking what you eat. But the benefit of doing it for a short period of time, 1 week for example, is a lot. There's a large bonus, a large payoff for that 1 week of effort, and you can do anything for a week. So if you don't think what you're currently eating is matching what you want it to, write down what you're eating for a week, type it in your phone, have a review of that. If you've had a review of that and you're not maybe sure what to do next, you know you're not happy with it, but you don't know the correct path, then ask me when you're at class or shoot me a message and I'd be happy to chip in on what would be an appropriate next step. Okay, until next week gang, this has been our nutrition chat. On 3, 1, 2.